Hi everyone, Craig Shern here from Jellis Craig in the North, and welcome to a wrap up of the 2015 market and what we see is potentially happening in 2016. 2015, what a marquee year for real estate. In my 32 years, I haven't quite seen those sorts of levels of activity. Indeed, we were talking to you in early January last year predicting moderate growth. Well, in the inner city, well, certainly Melbourne, Sydney if you like, we saw an average of over 11% growth, but certainly in the inner city suburbs, some 15 to 20% and even more was quite astounding to see over the first 6 to 9 months of 2015. Some really key things for me. Baby boomers from the cities of Boroondara and Stonnington really active in the marketplace, capitalising on obviously what was very good selling conditions. And we saw in any given month in the inner city, probably anywhere around 25% of our buyers were moving from the eastern suburbs, which really was certainly putting some pressure on prices because we had a number of people obviously with growing families and professionals who were also looking to stay in the inner city because of all of the merits of the transport, the infrastructure, the parks. We've got 2 hatted restaurants in the inner city now in Smith Street, Collingwood and High Street, Northcote. Who would have thought? So you really had some interesting buyer dynamics coupled with some foreign investment buys earlier in the year, which were really adding to the increase in values. Certainly what was interesting in 2015 was the rise in popularity of the school zones, both secondary and primary. Number of these factors collided obviously with the low interest rate environment, coupled with a couple of points I just made about the dynamics of the buyers in the marketplace. So you really had a very robust market. It was interesting to reflect towards the end of 2015. Certainly the last quarter we did see the air come out of the balloon a little bit, for want of a better expression. The clearance rate sort of in the high 60s to 70 as opposed to those sort of 80 plus regions, I guess, earlier in the year. So it very much turned around to be a bit of a buyer's market. Well, 2016, what's going to happen? Who's going to call it? Well, I can tell you this. I think at this stage, certainly I'm prepared to put my neck out and say that certainly we're going to see some moderate growth in the inner city. Now, whether that's single digit, probably more than likely, but there's some very interesting dynamics happening both in the local economy and obviously the global economy at the moment. For those of you that normally sit out in the market, I guess, when you're looking to sell, perhaps you've sat down over the Christmas, New Year period and said, okay, what are we going to do this year? We're going to move, we're going to upsize, we're going to invest, etc. A lot of people wait to see what the market's going to do. Well, my suggestion to you is to get in and get in early. You might see a small spike before Easter. We've pretty much booked out February from an auction perspective. You've got 3 Saturdays in February, being the 5th, 12th and 19th, because we've got early Easter this year, so there may be some real advantage for those that choose to go early. Suburbs, what do I like this year? Well look, I think I have to stay on with Northcote, Thornbury, the likes of Brunswick, Ascot Vale, Moonee Ponds. Why? Because you've got a variety of property, you've certainly got a lot of period homes in those areas, but they are just so well supported by infrastructure, transport, trains, trams, buses, and I really love the strips in the inner city, seeing the evolution of High Street, Northcote, Thornbury, certainly in Smith Street, Collingwood, Fitzroy, those sorts of areas, and in the inner west around Moonee Ponds, Ascot Vale, Flemington, Kensington, really is an area that people like to move to, and I think from an investment perspective, that's certainly something to look at. The apartment market, well, it probably still remains reasonably flat to a certain degree, but I really like the 60s and 70s apartments. I think they really have to offer some great floor plans, solid brick construction, often a smaller type development than some of the new bigger apartments, which can often incur some higher body corporate fees. I think you're still going to see very good demand for big family homes on those 500-600 square metre blocks of land through Northcote, Thornbury, Brunswick, Moonee Ponds, Ascot Vale, you name it. There's probably a plethora of inner city suburbs you could name where I think these types of properties will still be very popular. The rental market, well, as is typical at this time of year, talking to our property managers in the last couple of days as we've all got back to work, it's been extremely busy. It's interesting to note the median rent for Melbourne's just hit $400 per week. Who would have thought? That's probably akin to having a mortgage of somewhere around $400,000 to $450,000 if you're looking perhaps at renting versus buying. But at the same time, obviously for landlords, some terrific growth that we're sort of starting to see, particularly in those higher rents around $700 to $1,000 a week. We've had a great deal of success. A lot of properties renting on one open for inspection and so forth, and certainly here at Jellis Craig in the north we're managing some 1,800 to 2,000 properties, so we've got a number of property managers on deck that are here to help you, and certainly from a landlord perspective, if you perhaps acquired a property late last year or looking to get a bit of a health check on your portfolio, we're certainly here to help you. We've got a terrific professional team there ready to assist. So whatever you're buying or property requirements might be for 2016, whether you're here as looking to be a tenant for the first time, perhaps a landlord looking to buy, looking to sell, look, at Jellis Craig and North, we're certainly here to help you, whatever capacity it is from a property perspective. So call into one of our open for inspections, be it sale or rent, over the next couple of Saturdays as things start to hot up. Certainly if you wanted to call into one of our offices in Clifton Hill, Northcote, Brunswick or Kensington, anywhere in the inner north, I'm sure our sales and property management team would be happy to help you, and I look forward to talking to you throughout 2016. Hope it's a good one for you. Cheers.